I was just trying to look back at when they met and see if I could look
Hey, yeah.
A lot.
All right, great. So, good evening. This is the September 4, 2025 meeting of the MSAD11 Policy Committee. Let's see, I'm Tony Veet. I'm the chair of the policy, and we'll go around and I guess if we can do committee members first and then other board members. Yeah.
Janelle McKinnon. Megan Carlson. Is that it?
Other,
I think
yeah,
that's it.
that's our
And now
committee and then
others.
others.
Others, Molly Rogers.
Joanne O'Brien.
And I think we can just, yeah, so just dive in. We have our agenda. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at it and look at the policies we have listed. There's a number of them. If we don't get to all of them today, that's just how this committee will work. One of them is to return to examining the student use of cell phone policy, other electronic devices. So we've seen this one before. We had put it to the board for a first reading, and we did get to that or had a discussion, and then it came back here during that discussion. This policy alone is still on tonight's full board agenda. Potentially, if we reach an agreement, we could then ask for a second reading from the full board, and that's a little bit out of line, but then if we have an agreement, it would allow it to activate for the start of the year. We can take our time, and if it goes in a month or whatever, we'll just deal with it then. So let's see. I don't know quite where we want to start on this. I think the big thing that came up was that the way the policy. The way the policy is written, and we did look at it and agree to it, that it actually creates a little bit of a change at the middle school so that they would have more access to phones, which I don't think was the intent of the policy. So that was a concern that was brought up. I know the committee had worked diligently. I understand there were 7 meetings at least, and well represented with, let's see, faculty, administration, parents and board, at least one board member, yeah.
And students.
And students, yeah. So we had good representation to come up with the policy. And then as we looked at it, we realized there was going to be this, a potential increase of access, which wasn't the intent for the middle school in particular.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Tony. All of that committee work happened and was recorded, so that's accessible. Just if anybody's interested in seeing sort of the evolution of how the policy came about. And yeah, it was when it came to the board, just raised some more questions, some opposition, some feeling like, is this what we, in practice, is this what we want in the middle school, specifically more concern at the middle school level. So yeah, tonight we're looking at it again, and really, like you said, Tony, you all could take your time. We could engage the committee again, certainly. We did invite Angela Hardy back because she has the long view and has been facilitating the work of that committee. And so Angela's prepared to contribute to this conversation if we have clarifying questions, and we can take it from there.
Yeah. Great, yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, Joanne.
I was going to say, the big concern seemed to be coming from the teachers. And in particular, the disruption to the social skills that having this particular cell phone policy might engender. And that to me is a pretty red flag, because if the teachers are having a hard time settling students down because of something that they read in the hallway coming to class, or some other transition, even though they're not using it in class, that's another disruption that they have to deal with, and less time on task. And
so again, I think the point of the policy is to keep them off phone so that they are on task.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that by opening it up to allowing middle school students to even have any sort of use in school, even if it's just labeled, hallway use and then cafeteria use, I think that it's gonna give them the green light to use it other places. Like, I think it's, cell phone usage is already getting abused in this school, even though they're not supposed to have any at all. And so I think if we open it up to allow them to have any sort of usage, that they're gonna abuse it.
So, yeah, so let's see, do we wanna, if it's all right, I would like to hear from Angela.
I think it would be helpful because all of these concerns came up during the committee's work and were addressed, and I think that's what Angela can provide
Yeah.
is the reality, the intent, the conversation, and sort of the backstory about how we got here with this policy in print.
Our curriculum director and committee rep, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yes,
right
yeah,
now.
Pat and I sort of co-facilitated the team, but she has retired. So the committee met 7 times. I'll admit, when we came to the committee, the general sentiment by almost all parties in the room, almost all parties in the room, was to move towards a full ban pre-K to 12. And we read some research, we read about schools practicing different levels of cell phone engagement or banning. We then decided to conduct a survey, and so we sent that out to families, secondary families, so not elementary families, so grades 6 through 12 families, to staff, 6 through 12. Because the issue was really in that adolescent age group. There was not and we asked students, middle school and high school students, both, but separate, 2 different surveys, same questions, but so that we could track the results better. The question isn't really around cell phone use in elementary schools. Seems to be a universal, we don't want to see that happening. And that has been our practice. You know, the challenge is always the bus. And that's mostly a supervision issue. A bus driver can't check if kids are on their phone or not. It's discouraged, but we can't really enforce it unless there's a problem. And then over time we shifted to how can we allow cell phone use in a strategic way. And that's where we landed on this, as you were suggesting, kind of tiered process, right? No use in classrooms unless there's already been specific permission granted through the administrator for an educational purpose, like a specific science app that they sometimes use outside if they can't use their computers. And limited use in some public spaces and then some use in other public spaces, and having like these zones. And then the sticky point has always been the middle school. Are they old enough and able to regulate their use with certain rules in place? Currently, the expectation, as you said, is that they put them away in their bag for the day. We do know that that is sometimes problematic. So one of the things that the staff did appreciate about the policy is on the last page, page 4, there is a consequences for policy violations chart. And the consistency that that part of the policy would afford is particularly agreeable to staff and administration, because right now, with the absence of a student cell phone policy, it's what's in handbook, which is de facto policy, but it doesn't have the uniformity that a board level policy would have, building to building. So these consequences would be uniform, they're laid out, there's opportunity for reflection, right, learning, but also clarity for families too, about how this will work. So there is some concern about losing that, because they want to keep that, but the real sticking point is middle school use. Should it be strategic use or no use? Staff pretty much universally at the middle school would prefer no use. Families were split. Students, they were split, probably more towards using than less. And that's in their best interest, so that's what they would certainly say. Interestingly, one thing that I think what might be interesting around the family perspective. If we stayed in the middle school with a staggered, what did I say, strategic approach. The idea is the cell phones are gonna go in these little holders, like by the door or something, right, for the class period. And I went back through the family feedback to try to see where people are following. You know, some families said, you know, I really don't want my kid giving up their cell phone. They can just have it in their bag. And if they can keep it in their bag, that's fine. And we're not gonna go this tit for tat, is that okay to say? This back and forth between teacher and student. I don't see your cell phone in the little pocket. You know, we said to teachers, this goes through, we're not gonna go back and forth with kids unless we realize they don't put it in the pocket and they're using it, right? Because then you automatically go to consequences. But it is a classroom management piece that would be an extra layer that they currently don't need to have if it's a full ban. It's in the backpack, it stays in the backpack, shouldn't be out, shouldn't be sitting in your pocket vibrating the whole time you're in class. And then the series of consequences that follow it. But there's also information in here about family communication with students, like how can you interact with your students if they're not supposed to be receiving text messages during the school day? How can, if it's student initiated contact, they need to reach out to the family member about something. What are some strategies that are universally supported by this policy? What are some strategies for parent or guardian initiated contact? Again, something we don't have a uniform agreement around. We have de facto policy in handbooks around suggestions around that. I'm not sure if I'm being entirely clear. So I double checked with administration. I went through the staff feedback, I went through the family feedback, I went through the student feedback. Specifically with the middle school lens, because that's what came up at the board meeting. And I'll answer any questions you have beyond what I've sort of summarized.
How does it compare with the recent feedback we've received? I don't know who that's been sent to, but we've received feedback in the spring from administrators at the middle school and then from teachers at the middle school.
Right, so
So how
I'd
does
say
it
that
compare with
feedback is
feedback?
represented in the survey data, and it's part of what we wrestled with, was like,
Okay.
this tension between some families, really saying, I want my child to have access, and mostly it's just for security reasons. Like, what if something happens in this school? I wanna be able to talk to know my kid is okay. That, that's like deep down, and I get it, I'm a parent.
Yeah.
And can they do that if their phone is in their backpack or in their in their locker, I don't know, but in their backpack? If it's a huge emergency, all we want them to do is basically focus on safety, right? Follow the directions and let's make sure you're safe. If it's that in between state, there's usually an opportunity to converse if you need to converse.
Well, who's focused on the policy at that point?
No one's focused.
Anybody's gonna switch to
But and it's very rare, right? It happens, but it is.
I don't mean to discredit it.
But as this policy states, we're really trying to improve academic focus, reduce distractions, and encourage positive social interaction. By having phones away all day, you can achieve all three of those, hopefully. By having phones away strategically, I think you can probably get to improving academic focus and reducing distractions. We're not entirely sure about encouraging positive social interaction, because if the default is to pull your phone out during the hallway at lunch, then you're potentially, and when they say interactions, they mean reducing screen time and having more face-to-face conversations. It's defined that way. Kids are in school for what, six hours a day?
Yeah, you had a
Yeah,
question or?
no, I was
thought,
just gonna
yeah.
say, like, I feel like cell phones have created an environment where we can get like instant gratification. And I know like a lot of parents, Tuesday, Sutton's first day of middle school, I would have loved to have texted her to check in, how are you doing? But I didn't, because, I knew she was fine, and I waited until the end of the day. So I just feel like the parents or people that are worried about safety might be more so just wanting to check in or, you know, get that, I don't know, instant gratification of, is my child okay? But you can call the school. I mean, when I was a child, we didn't have cell phones. You know, everybody called the
Main office,
school, you know, if you had to dismiss your child or if you needed to give them a note or a message or whatever. There's ways to do it, and every classroom has a phone in it now. So
Right.
I would say like maybe try out the policy for high school this year and see how that goes, and then maybe reassess next year for middle school, but I would say no cell phones in middle school. Keep the policy as written for high school.
So yeah, just, shift
That would be
the-
my
the-
suggestion.
the grade,
Mhm.
so high
And
school.
modify the policy, yeah.
So pre-K through grade 8,
No cell phone.
backpacks only.
Yeah.
And 9 through 12,
Strategic.
The
the
strategic plan.
strategic access.
Molly, what do you?
Is that, is that more severe than the current de facto policy? I think, do teachers currently have the opportunity to say, I'd like you to take your phone out if you have it and use it as this tool, you know?
So there is a science class in the spring in the middle school that does use a specific app, and they ask parents if it's okay for their child to use that app. It's this cool identification tool that your phone can like screenshot something and tell you all about it. So in here, there is a clause that says you can seek administrator approval for use of something, and so that it's, you know, but communication should happen at home with families at home, so they're aware that that's okay, which is what we've been doing. So I think that would still be allowed. It's set up that way in this policy, so it should still be able to work if you shift. I will say that middle school has lockers. I think they're, right, they have lockers?
Yeah.
Elementary school has lockers.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I
Some.
just realized like.
Yeah.
Sometimes their stuff's in their lockers and sometimes it's not in their lockers. So I'm speaking, I don't know exactly. I think we'd have to lean on the administrators to say like, it's this or it's this. I think the idea is they're not just sticking them in their pockets and checking them under their desk. That's what we're trying to avoid, right? And that we would ask them to use in your backpack or in your locker, whichever is the most appropriate for that building under their context in the grade level and what resources they have access to. Cause like elementary school has cubbies and lockers.
Let's see, wanted to check, maybe just to throw this out there, I've heard that there's been some changes at the legislative level, or that they're considering like broad statute, right, not just school policy, but do you know? Can
So
you
for
speak about that?
now,
Yeah.
what passed for
Yeah.
now is that there's every school district by a date this year has to, not right now, but soon, December, winter sometime, has to have a cell phone policy at the district
Something,
level.
yeah.
We don't have one, we have to have one. We were already ahead of that, so that's good. We're working on sharing one with you and getting approval. The next step is they will have some committee structure or group. I don't remember if they said it was gonna be Department of Ed or whatever, to look into it further, because there were a number of proposals for a complete ban at the state level, and the result was not a complete ban. I think it went through committee yet, and instead everyone has to have a policy. There are a lot of states now with a ban. I've lost track of the number, but it isn't yet in Maine.
Yeah, so right, even as you've been in the process, for this committee, it's been changing that way. And a little bit for me, just to grab one other thing, just noticing, like, let's see, I really appreciate the work the committee's done, and it sounds like there's been a lot of thought, and yeah, we're kind of focusing on these 3 grades here, respectfully to the middle school, right? A little bit like, yeah, we advanced it, and then it came back a little bit, and maybe this is the process we just need to be in. I guess if we do make a change, I maybe we just wanna, I don't know, will the committee, I mean, you'll roll with that, but will the committee be
The committee only
okay?
makes a
Yeah.
recommendation. It's an ad hoc committee. It makes a recommendation to the board, the policy committee. The policy committee makes a recommendation to the full board. We were not entirely settled at the middle school level to begin with. I have tried to check in with different people. Just, you know, like if it goes this way, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
My job is just to shepherd the work and, I think it'll be okay. I don't think that I mean, if you dismissed the whole policy or told us to start over from scratch, you know, we might have to take a moment, but because it was 7 months of our lives
Yeah, right.
meeting and working through this and trying to be really thorough. But it isn't, you know, we haven't done this in this way before, so it's new territory. There's a lot of feelings around it. I think we'd be okay. In the back of the policy, also on, or the end of the policy, also on page 4,
Yeah.
there, we purposely added an implementation and review section, which isn't obviously in most policies, because by default, you try to review your policies every 4 to 5 years, and we knew this would be reviewed, but we actually wanted this particular policy to be reviewed under a different cycle at first. So we've requested a practice of communication about the policy, ensuring that all policies have to show up in student handbooks, but ensuring that the monitoring of implementation and gathering data around that implementation for our administrators to engage in, so that that information can be brought back and reviewed by the board, hopefully more frequently at first than the 5-year cycle. So that it would give you an opportunity to say, let's do a temperature check on this policy, maybe in a year or this, you know, late spring or something before the start of next school year to see if there's any adjustments we need to make. At which time you might then strike out that section.
I just have 2 more sections that I wonder if they need to somehow survive, or maybe they already exist in some way, but the earbuds and headphones, if it were a ban, would it include those because those are a required item for many classes? And although they're not supposed to necessarily be, this policy I think is meaning like they can't be connected to your personal device.
Yeah, so on the next page, on page 2, under device storage procedures, specifically earbuds and headphones must be removed and stored and not worn or visible during instructional time unless explicitly permitted for academic use. And so
would that survive?
an assessment often for especially younger children has a need for earbuds for that to work, or some of our tech rotations that students engage in, they need earbuds. We in some cases provide them, and others families bring them, and we label them so that no one else is using them. It's really embedded in there because there are all these smart versions now, and sometimes we like to keep one in our ear all day long, and it's unclear if we're talking or listening to something here while trying to attend to instruction here. And it was really for that purpose, like if you need to use it, or your teacher is saying it's a quiet writing period and you can listen to your music while writing, obviously you would need earbuds in, and the teacher would give academic permission for that. They can pop those right in, no problem. But if it's an active instructional period, we should not be seeing earbuds on because there is instruction happening. And that's sort of why that's there. And we had to wordsmith it a few times to try to get it to a place where it felt like, okay.
Yeah.
And an educator can say, this is an appropriate time and place for this.
Just because it fell in the 6 to 12 area, I wanted to make sure that remained relevant for all youths, right?
Yeah, and that's the only, like, if this was to go forward, I think on page 1, under those bulleted items of what we mean when we talk about electronic devices, we would change pre-K to 5 to pre-K to 8. The next line, change 6 to 12 to 9 to 12. And anytime you see 6 to 12. And then
Change that one, place that one.
Did you have two or was that?
I did have two.
Okay.
The second was the medical exception. Was that applying to all grades? Or,
Yes.
because it is at the end, so I
So-
didn't know if that was.
Right, alternate and maybe we need a line or something, alternate communication strategies is all grade levels. Medical
Okay.
exemptions is all grade levels.
Okay.
And we will let a team make that decision, because I know sometimes anxiety is one that people will, is a legitimate medical concern, but the treatment isn't always access to a cell phone, and it's very case by case, but the research has some clear evidence around it. So we tried to avoid that so that it could be a team-based decision based on the appropriateness of the situation. Consequences and implementation and review would be all. So I don't know if there needs to be a line there above alternate communication so that it's clear that that's for all pre-K to 5. And the zone, at the end of the zone conversation, we're back to universal.
Yeah, good point.
It gives the teachers and the administration a lot more control. Because then they still do have the opportunity
Say.
to use it if it's clearly an
appropriate.
educational thing or a medical thing or whatever. But generally speaking, it's a way.
Yeah, and we're clear about it, the documentation process, right?
Yes.
It has to be through a documented medical plan, an individual health plan, a 504 or a 5.
Yeah, I mean, if this had come to me or us, I think, but I would have, if it had come with, basically the K or pre-K 8, exclusion, kind of, which is business as usual right now. If it had come that way initially, I probably would have gone for it. This seemed like, right, there'd been a lot of thought and discussion, but as we're moving ahead with it, I feel like that we're examining that age group a little more closely, and it's a good time to be thoughtful as for us as a group, right? How much.
Trying to figure out when is
they're
the right
exposed,
time to teach readiness skills, regulation skills on use of your phone, right? And that's that balancing act. Is it in school? Is it time to do that in middle school, or is it time to do that in high school? At home, they can choose whenever they want to do that.
Yeah. Their call. I'm leaning towards, I kind of like the change to make it a pre-K to 8 exclusion of ban, knowing that the teachers can kind of use that for, if, with that communication, look, we're going to do this on this day for a specific educational thing.
And there's a communication trail that has to happen for that to.
Yeah.
For that to occur.
So it's going to be a very known process, which also I think that seems like it has an opportunity to teach, the appropriate usage in that sense. Like right now, we're just going to do it for this very restricted purpose, which is going to be rare up until, up until 9th grade. Any other thoughts from committee members?
I would just agree that with these changes that we've talked about.
Yeah. Katie, what do you think our next move would be to, like, a motion to
To approve the amended policy.
yeah, so that just kind of strike the 6-12 and make it a pre-K 8 and a 9-12. So just sub those, and then the other thing would be maybe a clarifying line of where, like, the zone system would only apply to 9th through 12th grade, and then just to clarify that. I don't quite know what to put there, but just like applies to all students, the alternate contact, medical exceptions, and consequences would all be, general. It's just that maybe we could even just move I don't know if it would make sense to move the zones to a different section, like the last section. Or how would that read?
For student initiated contact?
Well, or we could just go after the zone section and say the following sections apply to all students, right? Just a sentence there like that.
I wonder about simply adding all students needing to contact parent guardian during the school day and completing, seeing that through as is.
Just saying all students.
All students needing to contact may request to use the main office
Yeah.
phone or if appropriate, teacher's classroom phone.
Okay.
And then the final line in that paragraph being students in grades 9 through 12 may text parents or guardians during transition times or lunch. I think that would be clear and a simple change to the existing wording that the committee came up with.
Yep.
I think, although I'm not closely reading, that there are just some minor shifts to reflect pre-K 8, 9, 12, adding all. And we've got a revised policy.
The only other place I'd put all students would be under medical exceptions, all or any student or any
Mhm.
students. Yeah. And then because that has. Yeah. That applies across K-12 or pre-K-12 at that point. So let's see, can I get a motion which would be make adjustments to this policy to make it pre-K 8 as a ban, and then 9-12 having the restricted zones. So just replace that language and then replace the language in the sections that apply to all students, the contact and medical exceptions sections. So can I get that?
Yep, I'll make a motion
Awesome.
to change the verbiage from K to 5 to K to 8 and keep the policy for 9 to 12 as written.
Second.
All right, second, yeah, all in, any further discussion? Motion a second, all right, all in favor? Yeah. So we have the motion. Actually, I don't know that we clarified exactly how we were going to get this to the board. Do we have a way to get a clean copy to the board in time for tonight?
I can do that.
Yeah,
Just such tiny changes.
yeah,
And you could look at it too, to make sure.
That would be great, Angela. Thank you.
I just wrote what you said. It's not very
oh,
simple.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's just a couple of 6-12 sections and, yeah. Anyway, yeah, great. And then, because I think we had talked to the board about sort of, I think, bringing the new version back, if we brought a new version, waiving the first read and just going to second read on that. That's how the agenda reads right
Yes.
now, I think. So, great, let's see what we got and we'll bring that forward.
Good.
Great.
Awesome. Thanks. I know we took a solid bit of time there, but hey, we have plenty left, plenty left to go. So to move on with our meeting, we're coming back into let's see, policy BBBA, board member qualifications.
We have all of these board policies.
And again, as Director Hardy mentioned, we do review these on a 4 to 5 year cycle, just to make sure we're current on either statute or that we've looked at it in a period, recent period of time. This one, let's see, there's just a couple of language adjustments in there. just to kind of declare that, you know, they are, you know, a citizen, a resident of the state of Maine, a qualified voter in the community or ward, and at least 18. Let's see, any thoughts or questions, comments on those? All right, let's see, do we want to do each one as a motion, or can we do a, let's see how far we get and we'll do a bundle?
Yeah, do bundle.
I don't know. Is that all right?
I think, because I think this one's okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just kind of just looking through them right now.
They're all, yeah,
These ones are really straightforward and we just have some,
Tiny little-
try to be concise about the language. So any addition or change you'll see really reflects an attempt to be concise and consistent in wording.
and as I'm looking at it too, I mean, I think it's good for community members to know, you know, we have rules around what we do and, you know, where to find them, but also for anybody that's coming on the board, these are, you know, our guidelines for the work we do. Yeah, we just looked at BBBA. Now we're looking at BCA, which is the Board Member Code of Ethics. A little bit longer, definitely something that, you know, we operate under. You know, promoting public education. One of the things I noticed in here, and I don't necessarily need to make the change. One of the things I will at all times think of children first and base my decisions on how it will affect children, which I think we do consistently. The only thing I might change is instead of children, I might put students. I don't necessarily need to mess with what's working for us though, but
I like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I do.
And I know when we do look at these, I know that they've come sort of, again, we've used it like this for a while. It just kind of hit me the other, or, you know, came to me the other day. I know that this is, you know, reviewed by Maine School Management, and so we don't necessarily need to make that change, but
I will tell you, we, as an administrative team, we are trying to be mindful of that. I mean, we have an adult education program, and so we are trying to be mindful of using the word students.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
And,
Yeah.
and so we have children in a few different places here.
yeah.
I would change those to students.
Is that,
Yeah.
and I think that meets what we're trying to do here, where, I mean, yes, and we also have, yes, we have adult ed, we also have 18-year-olds in the building.
Yeah, I think totally, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I think student will still cover anybody in pre-K, anybody in their senior year, anybody adult ed or any other, right, yeah.
Will that, forgive me, I can't think of the program that we're going to have to start with 3-year-olds soon.
Oh.
Will they be considered students, or should this say children and students?
Great question.
They would be considered
They'd be
students.
Still students of
Yeah.
MSAD11, yeah. Okay, yeah, right, great question. Yes, and I don't want to, yeah, accidentally leave anybody out, but that's
No, that's our service.
it is, yeah. And I don't want to lose sight of the fact that most of the students are minor children. I don't want to minimize that, but our focus is them as students. Let's see, yeah, if that's okay, we'll move on to the next one, BDB. Sorry.
I just wanted to say, so it looks like we're making that change in 4 different places. I will take a closer look. But in 4 places, we're going to
Cool.
change child or children to students or student.
Yep,
All right.
sounds good. Yeah.
All right, board officers.
So, yeah, BDB, so duties of the chair. So some of the adjustments are just kind of reducing the number of times MSAD11 is mentioned throughout. I think we're just looking for sort of one to know that we're talking about the board for MSAD11. And yeah, so talks about the duties of the chair and the kind of expectations and process there, as well as duties of the vice chair, which does apply to, like, I'm in that position right now, so that affects, you know, affects me. For now, and then identifies the superintendent as the secretary for these meetings.
Just one question.
Sure, yeah.
It appears we've removed the number sign from most all references, but the very first one in A has it.
Thank
So
you.
just for consistency.
Good catch.
Cool, thank you, yeah. All right, let's see, moving on to, if there's no other commentary there, thoughts, we'll do policy BDD, which is board superintendent relationship, and kind of describes, you know, the roles and process that we do. Gonna double check it.
Yeah, it looks like there's just the one change of picking up the MSAD11 online.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the superintendent to be at the meetings and evaluation in that process. Great. Policy, if there's no other thoughts, we'll go to policy BEA, which is school board use of electronic mail, email. And you know, just general guidelines, right? Change to pull out an extra MSAD11 you know, naming. And yeah, reminder to not use email as a substitute for deliberations. We need to make sure we're doing our work here, but that's what that policy does. And continues to define email and other electronic communications.
BEA homepage and BEA as two pages.
You know, that's a good question, right?
You both have the same review dates.
There's two different BEAs, school board use of.
Looks like maybe the second one is an updated version, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's what it does.
Yep. It's almost like, yeah, we have like just an older copy maybe.
Weird.
Yeah, what do you think? Yeah, actually, I'll hand it out.
This,
It's like, well,
maybe proposed, because it looks like it has more than just.
Yes, thank you.
You know, like.
Right.
Yeah.
Communication.
Yeah.
You.
let me show.
More thorough.
Got it.
There.
You can draw it. Yeah, let's finish.
The others.
Let's see, let's finish BEA. We've got some time and then we'll come back to.
Yeah, let me
BAC.
just take a quick look online. Sorry, Tony,
Sure.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries, no worries.
BEA. I'm not actually sure because
They're both in there.
only one
Was actually.
appears on our website.
Okay.
You know what, the second one is perhaps a recommendation. Let me find out
Okay.
if we can skip over BEA. I'll find out, as was the case last month at our policy meeting. This bundle,
No.
is work that Superintendent Pat Hopkins was able to work through prior to her departure. And so I'll double check and,
Sure.
we'll come back to BA.
So, let's see, we just I want to make sure we've got time for all of this, and then we're going to transition in a second. So let's see, could I get a motion sort of as a bundle for all the other policies we just looked at, which was through BDD? Please get,
Make a motion to pass policies BBBA through BBB.
Second.
okay, great. Any further discussion? Yep. Seeing none, all in favor? For those will go for first reading. Now, so we have the updated policy that we just took a little bit of time on, the cell phone policy, student personal electronic device use policy, JICJ. And we had voted to make some changes, which are listed here in red. Yeah. Oh, yes, yeah. So I think those all look good to me.
Yeah.
What they've adjusted. Yeah.
Do you want the and between X and Instagram?
So good.
What'd you say, Mom?
What an eye.
The and between X
really
and
does have a good eye.
Instagram.
Because there's an and other after Instagram. Sorry, it's in the first sentence.
Yeah,
You may, because those are platforms, but
wait, I am, where is it?
I'm sorry, am I on the right policy? Which one are you on?
I mean, cell phone. Oh, that's why I can't find it. Which one are you looking at?
I'm on a different policy. Sorry, Tony, my question was on a different policy.
I was like, I haven't seen anything
Let me,
about
I
Instagram.
bet you're right.
I didn't hear what you said.
We might not want it, but yeah, it's not on this one. It's not on this one.
You were really testing us, Molly.
Yeah,
I'm like trying to really
I will,
surf.
we will, yeah, we
Okay.
will go back through this.
No.
So yeah, so this,
We sort of depend on you. Molly, to read all
no,
these
it's all
things.
good. It's all good. You got the eye. So this looks like what, I think what looks like what we talked about, and makes the adjustments so that it's closer to where the existing policy is, and it creates a new clear policy that we need by state statute for sometime this year anyway. So let's see, I think we had the motion to move it to the board and request the waiver to second reading. Yeah. Okay, Megan, you good with, no, it's all good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So we will do that. Let's see, we still have a few minutes left. We could fit in a couple more policies if we want to try to do that.
Tony, if we adjourn now, we can get set up and we've got quite a crowd.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, we'll come back and pick up where we left off on BEA, or hopefully, and see
Yes.
where.
Clarification around that.
Yes, we'll get the clarification. We'll move forward with, which one we're doing. And one more thing, actually just one more thing, maybe for Angela, can you forward that to the board so they can have a electronic copy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you make enough?
I mean, enough copies for everyone.
Oh, there's enough for everyone. Actually, if we've got
I
hard,
made color copies for everyone here.
That's great.
in that case, don't.
I think we want electronic.
I think we're good. Yeah, otherwise, yeah. So thank you, never mind. So if that's all right,
Yeah, sure.
we'll adjourn the meeting at 6:22. Cool, thank you, thanks everybody.
Great.
I'm not saying.
Yes.
Yes.